some peace of mind. But TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat. And someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line. And Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Hey guys, it's Mo. It is the last day of June, so if you had something you were supposed to do in June, you've got today to take care of it. If you're like me, you probably put it off to the last moment because, you know, what is life without the stress that procrastination brings? Good morning, Wolfram. Thank you for your Modly Mod duties. Good morning, Jeff Montgomery. I'm always awake this early, but I never claim to be normal, so I don't have any tips as to why or how you should not be asleep, you know, at a normal time. I wish I did. Welcome, Auto Body Gal. Tammy, good morning. Let's see, I'm still getting used to these names. I wish they would switch them back. Tammy Bogart, good morning. Because I knew you guys as other names, and now you're confusing me. JKD Buck, good morning, and thank you for your Modly Mod duties as well. House of Flux, good morning. It's a Monday. We survived the weekend. Audio Coffee and Copper, or Cooper. I'm going to say either is great. You just be whichever one you want. Tamara B, welcome. Welcome, everyone. We've got a bunch of stories. I have a story coming out at 10 about someone who faked being an airline stewardess. Well, I guess he would be a steward, but he faked it to get free flights. Now, he is going to potentially federal pound me in the behind prison, so I don't recommend trying it, but it's a Florida man story, and who doesn't need a Florida man story on a Monday? Our first story is incredibly sad, but I will say that needs to get out, and we need to get this information out. So 2 firefighters were killed and 1 was injured after a sniper ambushed crews responding to an Idaho blaze. They didn't have a chance. And for those of you who are having to suffer through Lori Vallow dork bells inane questions with me on the Petty Express, this is the main reason that emergency, assistants, not police officers, are not allowed to go to a scene until it's been secured, because in an effort to help, they can be targeted. And sadly, this brings that reality home. 2 firefighters were killed and a 3rd was injured when first responders were ambushed by an hours-long barrage of gunfire after arriving to a scene of a blaze in Idaho Sunday afternoon. Now, the horrific attack, which began around 2 p.m. local time on a Canfield Mountain near Coeur d'Alene, ended about 5 hours later when SWAT teams discovered the alleged sniper's body. So it doesn't seem as he got this out of here alive. Again, kind of out of all loose and sundry F's when you kill someone. I'm so out of F's that I've decided to put hair things in there. Now, they did discover the lifeless body of a man next to a firearm on the populous tourist trail, according to the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. This was a total ambush. These firefighters didn't have a chance, Sheriff Bob Norris told reporters after the massive manhunt, assuring the community that there was no longer an active threat. We currently have one unalive shooter based on the preliminary investigation that's being conducted. Keep in mind, we had a fire that was rapidly approaching the body, so we had to scoop that body up and we had to transport the body to a different location. We believe that it was only one shooter on the mountain at that time. Now, police have not released the suspected gunman's identity, the type of weapon recovered at the gruesome scene, or the cause of his death. Now, motive remains under investigation, but police believe that the fire was intentionally set up to lure first responders into a deadly trap. Thank you so much. I got a new shirt. I got a bunch of things to show you. I went out with friends or my family this week to kind of a local artist kind of craft shop colony. I spent way too much money, and I decided what I want to do for my birth month, which is fabulous. Wait till the end, but not appropriate during this article. We do believe that the suspect started the fire, and we do believe it was an ambush and intentional, Norris said. A Coeur d'Alene firefighter and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue member were shot dead in the strike. A third victim, another Coeur d'Alene fighter, was shot during the violent surprise attack, but is recovering at the Kootenai Health Center after undergoing surgery. He's fighting for his life, but he's in stable condition, the sheriff added. Now, no other first responders or civilians were hurt, but to lose 2 firefighters, 2 men who get in and run toward fire, run to help people, to have them lost is a tragedy. Now, the deadly shooting erupted roughly about 30 minutes after first responders were called to a small but active brush fire on the east side of the mountain. As fire crews moved to tackle the blaze, bullets suddenly started raining down from multiple directions, shot by an unknown assailant hiding in the woods. We knew that our resources were exhausted, and if this were to be a prolonged 24 to 48-hour operation, we would need additional helicopters, Norris said of the relentless gunfight. We had 2 helicopters that were up, and we had snipers in those, so if they had had an opportunity to take a shot, we wanted them to take a shot. We wanted that threat to be neutralized. FBI did respond to the scene to provide tactical and operational support, FBI Director Dan Bongino said, with about 300 first responders also from state and local agencies. So I am very, very glad that everyone worked together. There wasn't a pissing contest, and we got the issue taken care of. Meanwhile, the nearly 20-acre brush fire continued to rage on as authorities had to respond to this, shooter. Well, it's a Monday. I tried. And I got about 8 minutes in. I'm doing a banner job. It's going to keep burning. We can't put any resources on it right now, Morris said before the suspected gunman was found dead. Now, Idaho Governor Brad Little urged the public to avoid the area when the shelter-in-place order was issued for the Canfield Mountain Trailhead and nearby areas. Multiple heroic firefighters were attacked today while responding to a fire in North Idaho, Little said in a post on X. This heinous direct assault on our brave firefighters, I ask all Idahoans to pray for them and their families as we wait to learn more. Teresa and I are heartbroken. Now, earlier shelter-in-place orders have since been lifted, but police still caution residents that the fire remains active. So this was from, and let me pull up the time here. This has been updated at 11:37 a.m. Eastern Time. So they might have gotten the, firefight or the fire down by now, but it just isn't current yet. And well, I'm going to look at this as a victory, y'all, because I didn't like Hot Girl Summer last year. I thought Hot Girl Summer was just, let's be degenerates. So if Gen Z are becoming, Catholic and nuns, I'm kind of okay with it. Like, hells yes, bring more of this. Forget Hot Girl Summer. Gen Z women are flocking to convents with none, and taking a vow of silence this summer is in. Does that mean on Twitter too? Because I think we should get back to a time where we didn't have a thought and then write it down as if we were the second coming of a grand philosopher. Like, I get it. I don't put much on Twitter because I really don't think everyone needs to hear my hot takes about why I'm pissed off that I can't get double ranches at Burger King. I don't feel like it's a problem, for which I should mount a indignant moral outrage. Although they really should give out extra ranch. I mean, with the price of fast food anyway, I'm just saying, cut us a little slack. Buy Hampton's shared houses. This summer is all about convents. Gen Z women are opting for a peaceful summer with nuns this year. Having been raised in a Catholic church, I can tell you that the nuns are not the most chill people, at least not the ones that tend to work in Catholic schools. Now, I was, in the late 90s, so they didn't have rulers anymore. But the sternness with which they could look at you and being raised to know that they were just very much closer to God because of their virtuousness than you were kind of made it a whole lot scary if you're a very, people pleaser child. So, summertime is usually when singles look to book shared houses by the beach, bar hop into the wee hours of the morning, and drink fun cocktails on sunny roofs. But not this year and not Gen Z. Young women are not only giving up on swiping and dating apps, they're now looking to preserve their peace even further by taking a vow of silence and booking stays at Catholic convents and monasteries for the summer. I mean, if you have to wear the habit and the wimple, you are going to have a hot girl summer no matter what. Bad Duck, thank you for the super chat. Jesus' last words to Mary, Mom, come on, don't eat all the Easter eggs. I'll be back on Monday. That's great. Just the Cadbury ones. Leave him one Cadbury. It would be bad if you didn't leave our Lord and Savior at least one Cadbury egg. Although I like the mini ones. I don't know what it is since I've gotten older, but the big, just solo ones are too much sugar all at once. And you can't really cling film them because they have that liquidy center or whatever it is. Or put it in a Ziploc bag, you just end up with a mess. So I like the little mini ones, and you don't feel so bad. You're like, I only had a mini egg. And then you proceed to sit down and eat all 12 because they're just small. Now, I freeze mine. I don't know if anyone else does that, but that would be my secret hack to eat more of them without getting your hands gross. Yes, you read that correctly. In case you're unfamiliar, a vow of silence is an act of being verbally silent and only communicating through writing or sign language. I only know one sign. This is going to be bad. It's either going to be thought of as an offer or an insult. This is going to be terrible. Now, considering 250,000 Americans experience burnout by 30, spending a summer getting in touch with one's spiritual side sounds like a very peaceful escape. Now, the quiet trend has become so popular that guests are being put on wait lists for these holy stays, as pointed out by one woman's viral TikTok video. I booked a vow of silence at a Catholic monastery late last year, and the booking process was really straightforward. You just email the nuns, they give you some dates, and overall they're fairly flexible. She said that her post has garnered over 700,000 views. Explaining that she had a great experience her first time around, when the content creator went on to book her stay this summer, she was shocked to learn that the monastery was fully booked for the next 3 months. Maybe we can start a Resty app for vows of silence, she added in her video. Now, her video racked up thousands of comments from other women, wholeheartedly saying they support this unexpected trend. To call the nun is too strong right now. Brat summer is out, vow of silence summer is in. Rachel Zegler, I plead to you, nay, I beg you, consider this trend. Not for just you, but for humanity. Let the world let nature heal itself. And you can listen to your own thoughts and realize that you don't have any. It would be a beautiful thing. Work with me, sweetheart. I'm trying to help you. Now, I lived with nuns last summer. They're Episcopalian, then they're not real nuns. As a former Catholic, I can tell you Episcopalian is Catholic light. I'm sorry as to who I offended. Jeffrey, you've been a member for 5 months. I fear those who did this see it as a gimmick, or this is a gimmick. What I can say is I don't know if I like it as a trend. And for someone who's generally irreverent, I didn't think I would feel strongly that if you're not using this to get closer to God and you're using this as a burnout thing, it does feel a little ick to me. Again, if it works for them, if it gets them closer to some sort of spirituality, okay. But for me personally, I would feel weird staying at a monastery or a nunnery or convent with my sort of recovering Catholic status. But maybe it's just me. Someone had already tried to apply for in February to live in an Italian monastery, and they were already booked. So girls are fed up and they're going to nunneries, but probably not taking a vow of chastity, but a vow of silence instead, which, honest to goodness, if you've been on Twitter, all of us should do this on a daily basis. At least in my opinion, I'm not a Twitterologist. But at least I won't have to see half naked women shaking their, twerking their behinds in brat girl summer. I'm all for a summer of silence, really. Now we have, another day, another person to go to Snake Island. And would you believe it? I know you're not going to be shocked. It is another female teacher that should be, well, she has a ticket. Bon voyage,
It's a
ma'am.
curse, we got room for the wicked, the cruel, and the worst. If you lie, if you cheat, if your soul's made of bile, you're bound for the fangs and the venom in style. Oh, one-way ticket to Snake Island. Oh, let the contents, less cowards and gaslighters go. No anchor, no lifeboat, no tearful goodbyes. Just hissing and coming in cold-blooded skies. Back up your friends.
I mean, it seems like you turn over, well, just anything, you're going to find creepazoid teachers. All of them female. And thank you so much, Mary Kay Letourneau. See what you did? See, we all didn't treat Mary Kay Letourneau like the monster she was. She got a bunch of books and, movie deals out of it. And now you have, got another one. A boy, 14 years old, ate lunch in a classroom with a teacher because he had issues fitting in. Now she is accused of drawing the curtains closed and abusing him in the school. Sarah Jacas allegedly abused the boy multiple times and later told him to lay low because her husband was angry with him, according to police affidavit. A Florida teacher, a flippin' flapjack course, is facing a litany of charges after she allegedly assaulted a middle school student in her classroom. Orange County Sheriff's Office arrested Sarah Jacas, 32, earlier this week on multiple counts of lewd or lascivious behavior and lewd or lascivious abuse, as well as a single count of SA by authority figure, according to the arrest warrant. Now, the alleged victim is now 16 and spoke to deputies from the Orange County Sheriff's Office on June 10th and alleged that she had abused him in 2023 when he was a 14-year-old attending Corner Lake Middle School. Now, both the teacher and the alleged victim had begun having lunch together in her classroom at the start of the 2022-2023 school year because he was having issues fitting in and associating with the right crowd, according to the affidavit. Now, the alleged victim told investigators that he and, Sarah, his teacher, grew close. Pretty much, yes. She grew close, so she was grooming him. I mean, she was picking him out, isolating, becoming his sole source of solace, understanding. She gets him, his parents don't get him, other students don't get him. These are very devious things to do, just absolutely disgusting. Now, she isolated him from other students over time. He said that the two began to express physical affection for each other, but alleged that it started off as just hugs and pecks on the cheek and grew into what the affidavit alleges is chronic disgustingness and deviance. Now, according to the affidavit, Jacques and the victim would text outside of school hours, but one time at 1 a.m., the boy's mother caught them exchanging messages and instructed both to stop, saying it was abnormal. Now, the educator stopped texting, but also allegedly went on to create a fake Instagram account where she could dirty talk with the alleged victim. Now, she allegedly wrote, quote, "I just had marital time with my husband. It wasn't the best. I imagined it was you," end quote. Center of the sun. Just center of the damn sun. Now, a week before spring break in 2023, the victim told deputies that Jacques covered the windows of her classroom with an active, assistant, or with the curtains, put a pillow in the corner, and they allegedly engaged in relations in the classroom. And she also didn't provide him any protection that would prevent from pregnancy, according to the victim. Now, she allegedly abused the boy each day before spring break, but after the break commenced, her husband, with whom she shares a son, learned about his wife's alleged behavior, according to the affidavit. Now, subsequently, the husband posed as Jacques and contacted the teen on her secret social media account. She basically called the alleged victim from an unknown number and told the victim that her husband found out about their relationship and for him to lay low because her husband was angry. So I'm guessing that she completely said it was all the boy's fault. He came on to me, never mentioning the fact that she's a grown-ass woman and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're the adult. Now, the victim told deputies that in the remaining weeks of the years, she wouldn't return to school, so she left school. On June 16th, the victim allegedly called her on the phone in the presence of law enforcement. Now, details of that phone conversation were redacted in the affidavit, and I'm hoping that this victim has entered some kind of therapy. Because for those of you who laugh this off, for those of you that are like, gosh, where was that hot teacher when I was a kid? This young man will now have to work years and years to understand boundaries, to understand when someone is not manipulating him and is actually caring about him as a good partner should. Because this is his first experience, he's always going to, be shy of these romantic relationships because he didn't really have any powers. He was groomed. Again, he's a 14-year-old who has 14 years of experience versus someone who has double his experience nearly. And that is going to make boundaries and things for him so incredibly important. And I hope his parents are getting him the help. I hope the school district, as dumb as they are getting him help. Honest to God, do we not have screeners for these people anymore? If you get the even a whiff of a teacher being too close to a student, shouldn't that be, talked about? Shouldn't they have classes in teacher school about how to rebuff or realize when a relationship is inappropriate? I mean, I didn't think we had to have these classes. If I need to, I will do a TED talk of what will happen should, most children or most mama bears find out that you're hurting our children like this. So I don't know if I need to do a traveling tour of, what you are looking at if you cross a, mama bear or papa bear or crazy auntie. Don't mess with people's kids. I don't know how much clearer we need to make it, but we're kind of done with this. And we're past the point of giving you a pass because you're drunk or sad. Don't mess with other people's kids. Now, she was booked into custody on June 23rd and made her first court appearance the following day. On the 25th of June, she was released from the Orange County Detention Facility after posting bail. The principal at Corner Lake Middle School reached out to the students' families after her arrest and said that there was an ongoing investigation by law enforcement and the district's Office of Professional Standards, and this person would not be returning to the campus pending the outcome of the investigation. Well, ma'am, orange is not your color, but get used to it, okay? That's how I feel about that. Well, it's not Florida. I am shocked news. A baby tiger was reported on the side of a California highway, but Chip found something very different. The California Highway Patrol responded to a call this week of a possible baby tiger stranded on the side of the highway in San Luis Obispo County, but they discovered something less feline and more feathery. Now, the supposed cub was spotted along a remote stretch of Highway 166, which connects the Central Coast to the southern San Joaquin Valley. I'm giving you guys these directions like I know where in the Hades this place is. I don't. But the article does. Now, a driver passing through the area Thursday reported what appeared to be a baby tiger on the roadside. An officer was sent to investigate the incident and instead stumbled upon a dead hawk, not a tiger cub. The Florida Department of Transportation, which is responsible for moving no longer living animals from state highways, was notified about the bird. Now, it is unclear what caused the caller's zoological mix-up. Owning exotic animals like tigers is prohibited under California state law, as they pose a threat to public safety and native wildlife. The Department of Fish Wildlife, now there are permits available exclusive to zoos, shelters, research facilities, or educational institutions. The Big Cat Public Safety Act, a federal law enacted in 2022, probably after we all watched Tiger King, damn Carol Baskin, prevents unlicensed people from possessing, breeding, and transporting big cats. Now, a man and a woman were charged in 2022 after purchasing a jaguar cub and transporting it from Texas to California for commercial activity. So, don't buy big animals, and I don't think we need a Tiger King 2. I'm kind of hoping for the Hippo Empress, like just something crazy. Like, I farm emus, and I'm royalty. I am the Emu Duchess. I mean, y'all, this is the sad thing about Sarah Boone and Lori Vallow. Had they not unalived anyone, they are train wrecks I would watch the hell out of on YouTube. I know that's infinitely selfish that I would like to watch their drama unfold, but leave the drama out of my life. But I'm just saying, it is incredibly sad for me on a kind of morally selfish note that these women could have been crazy online and made a killing. I mean, they would be lolcows, but they could have had a following of people who just watch them to feel better about ourselves, honest. Now, from burglars to bears, at this point, I think this woman should be allowed to use TNT on her house and get all the insurance money. 12 burglars repeatedly ransacked a California woman's home, and then bears came. I mean, this poor woman, this absolutely poor woman. After a den of thieves ransacked a rural Northern California home so many times that the owner fled in fear, the property fell into even wilder hands, a group of bears. On Friday, Butte County District Attorney's Office announced charges against 11 suspects accused of repeatedly breaking into and stealing from a 64-year-old woman's home. 6 additional suspects have been identified in connection with the burglary ring and have charges pending against them as well. Now, the woman first reported her home, which is in a remote area of Lovelock, north of Malinga, was burglarized April 17th. But then the burglars kept coming back, and the situation grew so dire that the homeowner, fearing for her safety, stopped staying at her own home, according to authorities. The repeated robberies caused so much damage to the woman's home that bears were able to enter the property. The wildlife intrusion only served to exacerbate the structural disrepair and the woman's financial losses. Investigators from the Butte County Sheriff's Office arrested 10 residents and of the local town plus 1 Paradise resident accused of participating in the repeated break-ins. Now, each has been charged with first-degree residential burglary, Sean Anthony Cura, 43, Nicholas Brown, 37, Mary Rica, 59, Sefio Sipa, 37, Gavin Dominguez Feathers, 24, Joey Kupiahenapia, no idea. I'm guessing with that one. 42. Brianna Mayer, 32. Michael Barnett, 29. Matthew Bacon, 44. Lindsay McClanahan, 37. And Kayla Goebel, 34. Now, several of the burglary suspects were released on their own recognizance despite prosecutors' objections. Kira, Meyer, Dominguez Feathers, and Kupria Henipi remain in custody with the bail set at $50,000. Now, Barnett and McLaughlin are set to be arraigned Friday afternoon, and the identified defendants are due back in court July 9th and 10th. I hope that these people have something that she can get back from them or recoup her losses or something. This is terror for this older woman. These people deserve to go to Snake Island or just directly to the center of the sun. To take your jollies, to take things from an older woman to the point where she no longer feels safe in the house that I'm sure, because it's California, she had to put, years of blood, sweat, and tears just to be able to afford it and then to maintain it. And then you're going to scare her the hell out of her home and leave it so broken that bears move in. Like, they're Snake Island, all of you all just have absolutely, you have the potential to be better. I just think you lack the ability to be better. So I send you to Snake Island. Now, there are some people to which Snake Island is just too little. And we need to invite our co-host, Lord Chippy. Now brace yourself. The first story in this, just ick.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Hey, you guys. So this is the bad one. This is the one that you're gonna want to spit fire, choose nails, and hope for, well, at this time, he doesn't do much to help, but possibly we're willing to join forces for this one. We have someone for you. Again, Florida. It is a Florida heavy day. A twisted Florida pharmacist who assaulted and trafficked more than 50 young girls learns his fate. Hopefully it's just at the end of a meat grinder allegedly in Minecraft. A twisted Florida pharmacist will spend the rest of his life behind bars for abusing and trafficking dozens of young girls, some as young as 10, during repeated trips to Colombia, according to federal prosecutors. Stefan Andres Correa, 42, was handed a life sentence Friday after authorities discovered more than 100 disturbing videos of him abusing over 50 children stored across 9 cell phones, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida announced. Now, in my opinion, the feds don't do a whole deal of goodness for as much as they take of our tax money. But one thing that federal prosecutors do is if they have child grossness on you, they are going to convict. Josh Duggar, I'm looking at you. Yeah, it wasn't mine. I don't know how it got downloaded on my separate server that's blocked. No, they will get the evidence. They don't take things to trial they can't win. And in child grossness cases, they will take you for the maximum. And I hope that Gen Pop knows exactly what he did. Now, the prosecutor said that the Miami predator preyed on girls between the ages of 10 to 17. Quote, the prosecution and this sentence should serve as a warning to any predator who is trying to travel through our district to prey on children, U.S. Attorney Hayden B. O'Brien said in a statement. We will find you and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. A life sentence for this conduct is entirely appropriate. Predators such as Korea are a scourge upon humanity and must be dealt with accordingly. Now, the sicko was trying to board a plane Bogota bound from Miami International Airport last April when the feds grabbed him on the jet bridge and searched his bag, uncovering his stash of cell phones. Now, prosecutors said one cell phone contained a text exchange in which Korea offered a Colombian trafficker $75 to set up sessions with children between the ages of 10. Why is he not just fertilizing a new tree? So when I was at I was in Nashville, Indiana. So there's a whole bunch of like artsy fartsy and all the stupid t-shirts I could ever want to buy. Well, there was a stupid t-shirt there that I almost bought, but I have promised Mr. Mo I'm going to stop buying so many stupid t-shirts. But it said less assholes, more trees. And my subtle improvement on the t-shirt would have been plant assholes, grow trees, do something useful. That being said, it might have been a call to violence, and I too can be an asshole. Not to this level, more like just impatient and irritated. So I still say, why is he continuing to convert oxygen to carbon dioxide? I do believe the trees have enough fuel, but that's just me. Now it gets even effing grosser. If she behaves and takes good care of me, you can keep bringing her and you'll get, $75 every time. The pharmacist creep wrote in one message, offering to reward the girl with an Apple iPhone, according to court documents. The depraved druggist told investigators he made roughly 45 trips to South America to exploit his victims, and records prove that to be true. Now, he pled guilty to attempted trafficking of a minor and production of child grossness material in March. To the brave survivors, your courage was the driving force in this case. I hope that a life sentence of this predator will bring you some measure of justice and relief, said Jose R. Figueroa, special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations in Miami. This investigation underscores the global and horrific nature of children being trafficked and the importance of international cooperations to end it. I know that there's a lot of countries that don't like us because our current leader is, add whatever adjective they don't want. But I do hope everyone is working to save children. Because I don't care what your creed, what your race, if you're a furry, Zimzer, if you want, to be a kitten when you grow up. Children should be safe. And if that's something that you struggle with, please go directly to Snake Island. I don't have time for you to say, oh, it's not a choice. They're born like this. No. I don't need no. Just no. You get to go live in Greenland. You cannot be in society. We cannot trust you. Now, in something on a different level that's going to enrage you, and I've only put 2 stories like this in because I need, sometimes it's a Monday, you don't need to get too, Twitter-pated. But this is something that, again, as a person who covers kind of odd stories, this seems to be creeping up, and it's so damn gut-wrenching. It's already hard enough to say goodbye to your loved ones. I've had to do it recently with a woman I loved and respected. And to know that there are some funeral homes out there that are treating people's loved ones as just waste and not taking care of it, just absolutely highest punishment in the land. Quote, grotesque freak show. A mother was horrified at her son's funeral after the body became infested with large clumps of moving and visible maggots. So they obviously didn't embalm the body or take care of it. A Virginia mother is suing a funeral home some 3 years after she and her family approached her son's casket to the unfortunate sight of his face, nose, and mouth allegedly, covered in insect infestations. Now, the plaintiff, Tabitha Worley, recently filed a lawsuit against Snelling Funeral Home in Chesapeake and its owner, Holman Brown Funeral Home in Norfolk. She's demanding $5 million from the funeral home for breach of contract and negligence. Now, Worrell's son Torrin Williams died at the age of 24 in a car accident on May 2nd, 2022, and the family made a $3,000 down payment to Snelling Funeral Home to handle the arrangements. The lawsuit was first obtained by local NBC affiliate WAVY. Now, a week after his death, the family had a viewing and funeral at Snelling Funeral Home. As the mourners approached the body of Torrin Williams, these people noticed that the body, and particularly his face, nose, and mouth, were being covered by an infestation of, you guys, this is awful. Now, it appeared that this infestation had been going on for a significant period of time and purposefully ignored. They had burrowed holes. I mean, there was damage consistent with this not being, something that just popped up on a day. Now, as the incident unfolded, an employee allegedly placed her hands on Worrell and said, "Don't make a scene." Now, another employee allegedly just said, "Flies got to him." Worrell and her attorneys claimed that the funeral home failed to adequately prepare, preserve, and inspect the body before viewing. Plaintiffs believed the defendants did not store Williams in a sealed refrigerator, therefore exposing him to the elements, allowing this infestation to start. Now, since seeing her son's body in that manner, she has suffered severe mental and emotional trauma. And I will say, first and foremost, that my heart goes out to this mother. To lose a child is a heartbreak and a tragedy that no mother should have to do. It always is just heartbreaking when, you see a mother or a parent dealing with this kind of loss, and a loss that will always be there every holiday, every birthday, every time she thinks about him. And then to have her final image be this parody of his face because they didn't take the time. Hell yeah, pay this woman for her emotional distress. Make the check big. I want this to be a punishment, because part of what lawsuits do are, just the absolute, this is what this cost, this is what this cost. But then there's the punitive, measure on top of it. And hopefully they have all the receipts, they have photographs, as horrifying as that might have been to have to take that evidence. But this needs to be addressed. This isn't the first time I've covered a funeral home just being absolutely negligent to someone's family member. According to Worrell's attorney, Kevin Sharp, they provided this family with a grotesque freak show. All of these insects on this young man's nose, in his mouth, on his face. Sharp said Worrell was also stunned by the way the staff members told her not to make a scene. It almost seemed as if they were saying, "Don't overreact here, you're the one to blame," not what they had done to her son. Casey Jones, CEO of the funeral homes, released the following statement to WAVY. "The unexpected passing of Torrin Williams is tragic, and we extend our sincere condolences to his family." Screw you sideways with a cactus, sir. None of this busted PR, cover our ass stuff. If you want this to go away, you better pay them, and you better pay them all the things they ask. I'll allow it, but they already did go to meet Lord Shippey. I guess the snakes would still be okay with them. And welcome, Shizzy Raiders. So those are the two stories that really pissed me off. And it is the craziness of me that this is not the first story I've done of funeral homes or funeral home, runners doing just the absolute most grotesque things to people's loved ones. But I do promise headlines, true crime, Lord Shippey, and, well, absurd. And I think we've got the absurd to, be a palate cleanser after those two stories. But again, to the victims also of the pharmacist, this was his evil. Please don't take his evil and think that you are broken or in some way tarnished. He's got all the tarnish. You take the shine of being a survivor. And I hope each and every one of those young women are getting the help that they need, because this is something that should happen to no child. And it's okay to get this monster off the street, but I hope we're providing some sort of help for these young girls to get a life and thrive. You want revenge on this man? I want you to become beautiful, strong women, survivors. Because that's going to be the biggest middle finger to that man in solitary confinement. Well, Skynet has taken over, y'all. I'm out. A slick-talking cowboy hat-wearing robot dubbed Jake the Rizbot spits Gen Z and Gen Alpha slang, leaving, well, strangers gobsmacked. I don't know how it would feel if a walking Roomba came up talking to me and called me bruh. I just don't know. Wild West meets Wally. A slick-talking cowboy hat-wearing robot unofficially named Jake the Rizbot stunned both Texas locals and the internet with its proficiency in both Gen Z and Gen Alpha slang whilst out on the town last week, even inspiring a Bitcoin in his honor. The child-sized AI-powered robot, complete with a knockoff cowboy hat and silver chain, was captured on video all around Austin, Texas during its training out in the wild. Now, the little engine did its best to jog down sideways and even talk to an odd passerbys while spitting the latest slang. Why? I'm telling you, don't send this, animatronic Roomba near me. I will be freaked out. And I, for one, think this is how Skynet gets us. And I truly don't want to live in the Terminator because my name isn't, Sarah Connors. So, and I'd have to start learning how to do a pull-up. And I'm going to be honest with you, that may or may never happen regardless of Terminator, motivation. The Unitree G1 humanoid agent, it was originally unveiled last May, clocking in at 4 feet tall and 77 pounds. Now it sells for about $16,000, but prices can vary. The robot is meant to serve as an AI avatar that develops based on deep reinforcement learning and simulation training. Now Jake is thankfully still learning despite his name. He isn't able to pick ladies up at the bar just yet. Still, his Riz impressed local Austinites, enjoying a, bit of a nightlife. The man who owns and operates Jake accompanied it on his test run. He was eager to show off his latest gadget and wasn't bothered when Jake started to run out of battery, instead telling people that they might get to see it faint. "Hey, my name is Jake, and perhaps better known as Rizbot. Nice to meet you," Jake began in a video captured by a man he had encountered before diving straight into the typical lauding praise it's known for. Oh dear God, this is going to be funny with me reading it. My homie, that beard is cold, that mustache is hard, you look clean, nephew. Gee, that black smartwatch is straight iced out, and that white tee is bangin'. You got that clean drip locked down. Does that mean he doesn't need penicillin? Again, drip is a word that reminds me of an infection and not something good. Like I don't see drip as being something that one wants to be proud of. You got that boss energy, G, and you rocking it with style. Props to you, you're a solid boss, full real. Borrowing several terms from Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and now I feel like a general jackass. Now, videos of Jake went viral and people online were left gobsmacked and even scared about what the robot, could mean for the future of artificial intelligence. Yeah, again, I'm telling you, you're right to be scared. Let it walk around the parking lot by Macy's. I bet it will get robbed, one user commented. It's all fun and game until the cowboy robot pulls out a machete. Despite becoming a quick micro-celebrity online, Jake does not have an official social media account. It's unclear who exactly owns the robot. Can one own an AI? When do they become sentient? Now, the man who accompanied it in Austin hasn't been publicly identified, and why its AI has been trained to flatter strangers is still a mystery. But there you go. If you need a guy to tell you that you've got a good drip instead of something that needs penicillin, go to Austin. Apparently that's where they're living. In we need a heartwarming story, and this one goes out to, IT Goatee, who possibly has to say goodbye to his, his furry best friend. Losing a pet, losing a fur baby, they crawl into your heart and give you the love that you can only get from a fur baby. And then when they leave, they take a piece of your heart, but leave those memories of that just beautiful, selfless love. But it's never easy saying goodbye to them. So, thoughts and prayers going out to those of you who have lost a fur baby recently or even not so recently. It's a tough thing, and we wish we could keep them forever. But this particular pilot has dedicated his life to rescuing thousands of unwanted animals. We just want to save them all. New York native Michael Schneider's passion for rescuing animals came at a young age, when he was just 6 years old, and he's been flying high about it ever since. That's all I've ever knew growing up, he told the Post, remembering how his family would go to the local SPCA, a no-kill shelter in Briarcliff Manor in Westchester County, to bring home, dogs and cats. Beyond that I used to take animals from the neighborhood. I was that little boy who took in the injured bird with a broken wing and nursed it back to health, he reminisced. I even had a pet sitting business when I was 11 years old. Later, after discovering a passion for flying and following a skydiving trip, he chose to become a commercial pilot, and then he combined his two loves. In 2015, he founded the Airborne Angels Group Pilot to the Rescue, a transportation nonprofit that saves at-risk animals in need of relocation and shuffles them from overcrowded and under-resourced shelters to partner shelters where they can be in a safer environment. Now, to date, Schneider and his team have flown a whirlwind 353,600 miles on 313 missions that have saved nearly 4,500 animals from North Carolina to Florida to Texas. I wanted to do something of substance with my pilot's license that I worked so hard to achieve, the 48-year-old Brooklyn resident said. I've heard about people transporting animals at risk of being put down using airplanes, and when I learned about that, of course, I jumped at the opportunity. So he is doing the bestest he can and saving, oh my goodness, look at them, wiener dogs. I don't think I've ever seen a dachshund with this coloring. I know that's off the point, but I've just never seen, are they called brindle? I'm not a dogologist. Less than 48 hours after coming up with the idea, he had raised more than $12,000 from family and friends to support his two passions, letting them know that our furry friends don't have a voice. They would say, well, why an aircraft? And I would tell them the faster we get them out, the faster we can save them, which literally sometimes these animals have less than 24 hours left at some of these shelters before they would be put down. The transports are more of a hybrid situation. Snyder said the novel concept that most of the work is done on the ground with sprinter vans that drive through the night with the animal before boarding a plane in the morning. This method allows them to cover more ground and save costs. Oh, thank you, Denise. Brindle color is striped. My mother-in-law used to be a mini Aussie breeder, and I don't know if I'm just resistant to learning or it wasn't something that ever came up. Now I wish I had picked her brain more about dog stuff. Schneider said the whole process is also easier on the animals. When they get to the other side, they may feel a bit timid coming out of the crate, but when we get them out, their tails are wagging and they're jumping up and down just full of energy. Animals are smarter than we give them credit for, he added. People are waiting to receive them, so they pick up on that, and it's beautiful to see. This is just an amazing thing to use your talent and your knowledge to help someone. And, animals don't have a voice. Oh, my Bob Ross. No. This is Mo's problem. Do you see those eyes? Mo is a bad dog parent. Mo would not be able to say no to those eyes. And that's where we get in trouble. Now, Pilots to the Rescue, which is flies its plane out of a hangar in Essex County, New Jersey, is one of about 10 organizations in total that rescue animals with planes in the U.S. It also has existing relationships with individual shelters and works with large organizations such as Humane World for Animal, formerly known as the Humane Society of the U.S., to coordinate efforts between shelters. Sometimes smaller shelters don't have enough animals for a full rescue mission, so they'll make it a multi-shelter effort. On one recent transfer with St. Francis Animal Shelter in Georgetown, South Carolina, the shelter coordinated with other local facilities in desperate need of help and bursting at the seams to let them know there was space on the plane for more adoptable pets to clear out shelters. Oh no! Okay, we needed a puppy story. Look at the puppies. Look, they would end up with 2 puppies, and then Mr. Mo would end up living outside. Or I would probably end up living outside. Now, the at-risk animals, mainly it's kind of a colloquialism for animals that are facing being put down because of lack of spots in the shelter, or maybe they don't have the facilities to nurse them back into health. It is a sad truth that there is a lot of commitment. While animals and puppies are cute to look at, they also require us to be good dog parents, good pet parents, and, give them boundaries, train them to be good doggos. And that's a lot of effort to put in. And sometimes people just see the cute puppy and forget that you have to put work in to teach them how to be good puppies, to watch them. It's like getting a toddler. And sometimes people don't realize that. And also there is the increase of people who desperately love their animals but can't afford ever rising veterinary costs, with the cost of living going up and a lot of unfortunate economic choices that have to be made. So the fact that they are definitely trying to help these animals to get them to good homes is absolutely amazing. Now, the team also does missions with wildlife and endangered species, such as sea turtles, wolves, and critically endangered red bulls, known as benteng. The endangered species work is really rewarding, Snyder told the Post. Of course, we want to save them all, but sometimes when you're rescuing all these dogs and cats, you feel like you're chasing your tail a bit, no pun intended. Schneider, who lives in Greenport with his wife and 4 sons, aged 9 and under, admits that running a charity can be a challenge, especially when needing to put food on the table, but it's worth it to save animals' life and get feedback from adopters. Schneider noted that some will reach out and say the rescues are the best animals they've ever taken in. That's what keeps me going, to see the animals in their precarious situations that they've come from, whether it be hoarding, abuse, neglect, or basically just left to be in one of these shelters that will get rid of them if they're not adopted. We become a voice for these animals who can't speak otherwise. And even though Schneider has been passionate about taking care of animals since he was a kid, this venture has helped him grow more as a person. He's told people, "I used to be very narcissistic and selfish. It's all about me, me, me," he admitted. "But I started to realize it's more rewarding to give back and not be about me anymore. We want to contribute to make a difference, and that's a different type of currency." So definitely, if you have the space in your heart, the time to be a good pet parent, consider going to one of the shelters and giving, a pet a new life. And being realistic, if a pet has, some issues, that you're going to need to put more effort in, that there's going to need to be some things that need to be unlearned, because a pet who's been uncertain, who's been scared, you're going to need to prove that they can trust you. So it might be a little bit more work, but I have heard they are the bestest animals ever. And I'm just glad that some of them are getting a different chance, a different choice. Now for our final story, a headline in which you will never see Mo ever achieve. In fact, I'm confused as to why this person achieved it without the threat of the zombie apocalypse or the rapture. A man has broken the world record with 465 half marathons run in a single year. RSVP me no for this. Now, why did I think this was, his name is eluding me right now, Scott Preston. Not to get political, but he was a big force in Pennsylvania. He's got just long, beautiful, luxurious brunette hair, tall, slender, and I thought it was Scott Preston, but apparently it was not. It was Edward Molyneux, a 34-year-old personal trainer. Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, if you're going to work in fitness, you might as well be fit. There's a reason Mo's not coming out with her own exercise routine. Has logged an astonishing 6,000 miles between April 6th, 2023 and April 7th, 2024. Now, his achievement not only broke his previous record of 282 half marathons in 12 months between 2022 and 2023, but earned him a world title, according to news agency SWNS. I used to love sports like boxing, but when I suffered a hernia, it took me about 2 years after my operation to get my body back. All I could do was run. I couldn't turn to anything explosive anymore. What began as a way to recover turned into a regular habit. I know. Can I have his hairstylist? I mean, it's just upsetting when men have long, luxurious, flowing hair and they do like, I use Suave. If you've ever asked a man in public with like glorious hair what they use, usually it's like Dawn dish detergent. And I'm over here, I have got potions and magical cures and, like names abounding of things that I have put in my hairs to make it look, half as luxurious. And he's just like, I just don't wash it. It's unfair. It is unfair. I tell you what. Now, Molyneux, who is British, wants to now inspire people through his dedication, according to reports. I would love giving inspiration to other people, that warrior feeling. Even being around people doing well, I see people getting better and going higher. The endurance athlete went on to win a 2,000-mile virtual race across Africa. Well, that's cool. I mean, oh, don't show us your feet. Dear Lord, no, why? Okay, as one of those friends who, if I see something gross and I'm grossed out, I share it with y'all so everyone can be grossed out and be on the same thing. But before we show feet, let's invoke the Lord.
The key-keeped scrolls, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
I don't know why he wanted to show this, but apparently running a lot hurts your feet. Now, I'm going to take that off the screen because I'm grossed out. And no one should show pictures of their feet. When I am Empress of the world for just 1 year, because I know any longer I would turn into a Sith Lord, Darth Mo at your service, there will be a disallowal of any feet pictures not on designated sites. And they're going to have trigger warning like, do you know you're on a site that shows feet pics? And you have to, it's like one of those things in Indiana, not that I ever look at it, but now they've created a new law where you're supposed to put in your driver's license if you want to look at racy material. Apparently they've never heard of a VPN, but there you go. Now, in order to get to this achievement, he structures his week around 13 half marathons, often stacking multiple races in a single day. It would be multiple miracles to get me in a half marathon, let alone stacking them. To complete the half marathons, I split my week into 13 runs, with 3 on Monday and Wednesday, 2 on Thursday and Tuesday, then just 1 marathon the remaining 3 days. Even though he gets blisters, trench foot, and fatigue, he says he's undeterred. Some days I don't feel like doing it, but you need to. One of the hardest parts for me is that, but I push myself. Now, his nutrition strategy is as disciplined as his training. I don't eat before I run. I don't like feeling full when I'm getting the miles in. I stick to a lot of fruit, mainly bananas. And for a marathon, I run on an empty stomach, just maybe a banana. Well, no wonder you're so skinny. I mean, you're running all your calories off. That being said, again, people who run for fun, I just don't understand it. My mother does. She's like, it helps me relax. I think about things. And I'm like, how are you able to think about things except curse words and who the hell put a road here? Who the hell put a hill here? I don't remember this being a hill when we were, driving. I mean, again, now the night before he'll fuel up on protein like meat or fish. You won't get a stitch. It won't stay in your stomach and you can go faster. His passion and self-discipline, mental resilience is central to his philosophy. What I would do is one half marathon in about 2 hours, have 5 minutes rest, then get on to the next one. You don't know how the body will react or if it'll get a second wind. It all comes from belief. My body would pass out on me. I'd try to run and it'd be like, Heifer, we done discussed this. And the Council of Moe says no. I don't know if anyone else has a council of different personality types where they mull over a decision. And generally, I have one in charge. She's usually the one telling me to shut my mouth hole. And then the other ones are like, but it would be funny as hell. I generally listen to sensible Mo, but not often. Not enough to make it a track record, let's be real. I wouldn't have nearly as many wigs if I listened to her all the time. But he was recognized officially for his accomplishment on June 1st when he received his Record Breakers World Certificate. His journey from injury recovery to world record holder has made him a symbol of perseverance. Does anyone ever yell, "Run, Forrest, run"? That being said, I would. So I have stuff to show you guys because we went to Brown County and I found some things. I also found what I'm going to do. They have a hattery or a millery, and you can make and bedazzle and customize your own cowboy hat. And usually they like to have appointments, and I didn't want to make my family suffer through me picking out a bunch of bedazzlement. So I am making an appointment. And I am going to get a Shenanigans hat customized by Mo. It'll be great. It is a little pricey. I will say, if you are traveling around Indiana and you want to find kind of a funky place with a lot of crafty stuff, and I will say the craftspeople are amazing. Everyone was super nice. It is like a touristy place. So imagine you're going to spend more money than if you were in the mall, but they have a lot of really interesting things. And the one thing I found, I wish I had gone during Karen Reed, but it's called the Twisted Wick. They do have candles, but I promised Mr. Mo that I wouldn't buy any more candles for reasons. I have a ton of them. I can't find a lighter to save my life, but you guys. So the Twisted Wick, they import rubber ducks from Germany. I have Dolly Parton. She has little booblets. I'm trying to, she is Dolly Parton. She's a showgirl duck. And I had to get it. Now, these are about $11, $12. I did not tell Mr. Mo how much I spent on these ducks and would appreciate y'all not ratting me out. That being said, I found a petticorn. I am so dead on impressed. I know, I need to show Baker the boobage. I call her Dolly Parton. Look, I had to get her when I realized they had molded real boobies for a rubber ducky. I was laughing so hard that, when you take that snort sniff, but you're trying to be all presentable in public. So yes, they do have candles they hand make, and the wicks are twisted to help them burn. I don't know. I feel bad mentioning them and not saying that they actually have candles because I was too intrigued by the ducks. That being said, I have a couple more that I want to get, but Mr. Mo is constantly reminding me that I have way too much crap to try to put back in my office. That being said, I got them. Mr. Mo was like, "Oh, did you get a candle?" Even though we expressly talked about not getting candles. I was like, "No, I followed the directive and did not get one." Oh, so I will say it is a bit like herding cats. And try to, so I will say if you are kind of not a fan of the heat and stuff, I would recommend going to Nashville, Indiana in the fall, but the fall is going to be their busy time. So it's kind of a catch 22. I really like it. I will probably be going back there to get my hat of fabulousness made. But it's big enough to kind of have a full day, but you can also I need to become their tourist guide. They also have like a lot of rental cabins. I don't know. I just figured for me, I will say that the only weird time I had so the current state of the office is about 2 or 3 weeks left, and I should be able to paint and start moving stuff in. I'm getting a vanity, so I can be vain in front of it, which will be nice because apparently you can change like the lighting, which is supposed to help something or other for girl stuff. I also got, now I'm going to be real with you guys. I did not start wearing makeup until I started streaming, and I finally got like a whole anti-aging Gloop kit. Not from Gloop. I don't have the money nor the love of Gwyneth Paltrow to, but I got a full kit of like crap I'm supposed to put on to not look old. I don't know. It was on sale, and I feel like I should do something more than use Dove body wash to wash my face. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm adulting. Now, this will never turn into a beauty stream. I have absolutely no crap of an idea what I'm doing, but it will give me the opportunity to buy more brushy things to try this stuff. Thank you. It wasn't sort of like digging for stuff, but I'm trying to like be kind to my face stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to do this seriously, so I'm trying to be better at stuff. And then I go buy, you know, German ducks. But I will be, I'll probably not film it, but I definitely will be letting you guys be the first to see, after Mr. Mo, of course, the Shenana hat that we will put on when defendants express shenanigans or Mo just wants to tell people off. I have never more in my life needed a hat that's a warning that I'm about to go off. I have thought about LED lights, but I don't know if they have them. I'll have to scope it out. But if you are looking, if you are in Indiana or close, Nashville is kind of one of those, it is pretty busy, I'm not going to lie, but it's not as busy as, say, Dollywood or things like that. They do not quack with a German accent, but I am just stoked that they have a bunch more that I will be picking up. Yeah, I definitely should have done an avatar. That was something I didn't even think about. I didn't know about. Pretty much I will never take it off. And I will let you guys know I am looking at investing a good bit of money into this hat. They're nice hats that are, I don't know what cowboy hats are made of. I'm guessing leather? I don't know. I'm going to learn all about cowboy hats, what I should wear, and add feathers and glitter. It's going to be a blast. But that's all I have for right now. JKD Buck, if you want to put up my, you guys can always super chat. This is something I do tend to save for like big things, so I'm not asking for money, and I appreciate you guys just subbing and watching. Honest to goodness, and from the bottom of my heart, there were some streamers when I first got hurt that when I was having a really crappy day and I was not able to kind of see anything but more rain, more clouds, and more learning about my condition that seemed to be taking everything in my life away, there were creators who put out funny stuff just on their own that got me through. And if I can do that for other people with my sort of weird stories and funky news and petty express, then that's the greatest gift, is definitely. And yeah, so I am playing around with the idea of doing, a Nashville meetup, but I will say that yesterday kicked, so we went on Saturday and Sunday kicked my behind. Absolutely kicked it. I had to, rest before to have a good day, but we had a good day, but it kicked my butt yesterday. So trying to figure out when that is, when Mr. Mo can watch all the kids so I can go out on my own and burn up the credit card. Any hoozle, Indiana. But just it's a hidden gem of sorts. So if you get a chance to go into to Indiana and you like crafty art stuff, they have just bunches, oodles of crafty stuff, oodles of, just things to look at. Mr. Mo, and since youngest Mus Farrell was with us, they even have okay, Mr. Mo, youngest Mus Farrell, his sister, and her husband all love rocks. Now, to me, why are we spending money on something we can find on the ground? Yes, I know they were beautiful rocks, just not my jam. But they do have you can buy a bag of rocks or dirt. And then he got to sift it out. They have like a little water sluice. And he had the funnest time in his life. So there is stuff for kids. You can get old-timey photos. And Nashville, write me a check. Doing a job. It is peoply, but I think you'll find that a lot of the stores are small. Now, I would say that strollers and walkers are going to be hard to get around. It's not as easy to get around as Dollywood. If you're able to get a cane or leave your walker outside, I didn't take mine, but I'm sure you could, and just have a group and maybe someone can watch it. Those are just my recommendations. And then it is close to Brown County State Park. That beautiful nature, hills. It's just a lovely area. But thank you all so much for sharing your morning with me, for getting mad at the evils of the world, but also, celebrating the good, the perseverance, and, just the humanness and people that, take their ideas, their passions, and pay it forward. So, with that being said, I'm going to say goodbye to you here. I'm going to be pulling up. We are on day 5 of the Lori Vallow Dork Bell trial. And this is the first one. So Charles, and then we will go on to the Brandon Boudreaux. And there is also an appeal on the Charles case that I will be putting a video out on. So there are things moving and shaking in Lori's, appellate movements. I don't think they have any merit, but I'm not a lawyer, so take it with a grain of salt. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because some people need it. Bye, you guys.